Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Slice of Gaming podcast. Thank you for bringing a slice of your time to the podcast. Today, we got a pretty interesting news week, a lot of stuff happening all over the industry, but I can't be the only one to talk about it. I got my two special co hosts. We got Bench.
I'm here to talk about video game news.
And making his return from like 3 months now, Moon. Welcome back, Moon.
I live.
Moon, what was the best game you played in the last 3 months?
Astrobot.
Hell yeah. We're going to talk about that later, don't you worry. What's the most anticipated now for the rest of the year, you think?
Probably between either Metaphor or Life is Strange.
Oh, dude, yeah, Life is Strange. That's end of October, right?
Yeah, it's like literally like the day before the end of the last day. Yeah, we have Life is Strange and then Dragon Age like back to back on the 30th and the 31st. I'm like, why?
That is so weird. Okay, for a second I was about to say they were both Square Enix. That's completely wrong. No, Life is Strange is Square, and then Dragon Age is EA. I don't know. Life is Strange and Dragon Age probably have pretty different audiences.
That's what I was gonna say. Is they probably aren't too worried because they're very different games for very different audiences. But then there's people like me who I like both of these things, and so I want to do both.
Wait, you're into Dragon Age?
Well, this new game looks interesting, so I want to get it.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, because you haven't played a Dragon Age before, right?
No, I tried to do one of them. I can't remember which one it was, but it was like free from like Games with Gold for people who remember that program. I got one of them. I think it was Origins. I think it was Origins, and I think I booted it up for like 20 minutes and said nah.
Yeah, that happened to Fusion. Fusion and Bench. I think a lot of it's like, I don't know if I'm a Dragon Age guy. Though I guess this new one looks a lot more interesting combat wise, so hopefully that's
it looks more like standard action RPG.
Yeah, because I think those were trying to be more CRPG.
Yeah.
No, it looks interesting. I pretty easily can skip it, but I'm hoping it does well get BioWare back on the map.
I mean, if good, it means Mass Effect's good, so
exactly. But yeah, hey, listen, Moon, great to have you back. We're going to talk a lot about video games, stuff on the PlayStation side, and some indie, all over the place. But before we do that, let me do some housekeeping. Check us out, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, every podcast channel. I mean, we're on pretty much everything. Like the podcast. Any type of support helps us. Follow us on Twitter at A Slice of Gaming Podcast. Let's just get right into the news. You know what we got to talk about? The PlayStation 5 Pro. This got announced on, I want to say Tuesday, correct? We through the technical presentation. Mark Cerny hosted it. It was about 9 minutes. A lot of reactions across the web. A lot of negative. A little positive. I have a lot of thoughts on this thing, but I guess just like pure base level, what did you guys think of this presentation? The PlayStation 5 Pro, that good old fashioned $700 price tag. What's our immediate thoughts?
I'll go last.
Okay. I mean, I already went in with the mindset that I was probably not going to be interested because I knew the technical advancements was going to be very minimal. And it just feels like one of those things where if you don't already have a PlayStation 5, then yeah, maybe this might be worth it. But at the same time, you can get a PlayStation 5 base for $200 less, and it's probably going to be even cheaper once the Pro comes out. So this just does feel like, as people have said, it's a luxury item. It's like getting a really nice sports car when most normal people are just going to get a regular car. Yes, they're both big purchases, but only the fancy elite who care about high-end stuff is going to be getting the Pro, like they get high-end sports cars. Mm-hmm. As well as it was a bad representation on what games are being like lifted up. Like they showed off Spider-Man, they showed off Last of Us Part 2, but then they also came out later saying there's gonna be like 8,500 games that are gonna be boosted because of this, and I think they probably should have picked other games, but no, they're gonna show off their PlayStation first party stuff because it's like, hey, we want you to play our games, not indies and AA's that you could also play on PC and Xbox. But no, you're gonna play our first party, so they're gonna show off those, and those already high-end looking games. And I can almost guarantee those regular PlayStation 5's videos and screenshots that they showed, they don't look like that. There was that one image of Sephiroth from Rebirth, and I'm like, there is no way that's how Sephiroth looked in on a regular PlayStation 5. Like, I just know for sure. So yeah, it's just a mixed bag of it's not a bad thing, but it's definitely not a good thing either. Because as many people have said, we have pretty much reached the precipice on graphics and fidelity. Yeah, things can now be faster with better tech, but in terms of actual leaps and bounds, there's nothing here.
Yeah, for me, here's the thing. I was never going to be the audience for this. I'm the type of person that I don't. The way people don't notice frame rate is how I feel about like graphics. I genuinely don't think I could tell the difference between 1080p and 4K, and I don't know what's wrong with my eyes in that regard. But yeah, this type of thing doesn't interest me. The one thing that could have interested me is like, oh, maybe running more games at 60 FPS. But even then, it's like at this price point, my regular PS5 is more than good enough, and it's not like 30 FPS is like a deal breaker for me to where I can't do this type of thing. I just struggle to understand what the market for this thing is because you're asking for people that want the convenience of a console, but don't want they want the power of a PC, and it's $700. I feel like 600, that like in between point definitely could have been met. But when you're paying $700, like I almost feel like you would just be better off investing in a PC at that point. I understand PCs are more expensive. I get that. But at the end of the day, like you probably be better off doing that. That way you get a much more future-proof device. I understand if you want to buy this thing just because you want like things to just look better across the board. Sure. It's what you were saying, Moon. I think this was just a really bad presentation because I don't know what they were showing off. Like at the end of the day, you're showing it through a YouTube live stream. It's going to be compressed. So it's weird for them to like,
yeah, it's like this YouTube video is going to be the worst thing. What they should do is put in something like on the PlayStation Store that gives like a video demonstration so you can see the difference on your own TV instead of this YouTube compressed video.
I mean, what you said there, TV, it's like a lot of people don't have the TVs to run these things like even better either. It's like, so we're asking for a lot more investment overall for something that isn't going to necessarily be like a net positive for every game moving forward. It was that thing of like, oh, every game, you know, there's the graphics or performance mode, but now we're going to get rid of that. But also, some games aren't going to run at 4K 60. It's like, okay, well, I don't know what you're talking about. And really, the bigger issue is that the games they showed off, like you said, Moon, it isn't even that the fact that they're first-party games. It's the fact that they're PS4 games. They're showing Last of Us 2, which it looks incredible, don't get me wrong. That ran amazingly on PS4. Like it looks just as good on PS4 as it does on PS5. To the point where like I don't know how this is supposed to really show me the power of the PlayStation 5 Pro when you're showing off a game that already has existed for 4 years. If they had new games to show off, like say if they already announced Ghost of Tsushima 2, I think that would have been an amazing show off piece. But they don't. And right now, they're not going to probably for the rest of the year into next year. So PS5 Pro is going to come out and it's like, oh, wow, I can run certain games better. And listen, if you're really passionate about a certain game like Rebirth and you really want that game to look better, this is what I mean about me not being the target audience. I actually didn't even notice the graphical issues on performance mode in Rebirth. Again, I just don't notice it. I'm not the market for this thing. So
I noticed a slight fuzziness, but I think even that got fixed in patches later on because I played like right at launch. And I think some patches have probably got rid of some of that fuzziness.
Yeah, I saw the patches like a month after release and whatnot.
And then what was I was gonna say something else and now I can't remember.
Well, I'll just close it off. I think PS5 Pro, if you want to buy this thing, go ahead, it's yours. I struggle to really see the Venn diagram like middle point. It's probably going to be sold out because they don't expect this thing to get like high volume, but it's not something that immediately like I think is going to be a major pillar for PlayStation 5.
I mean, I'm definitely the target audience for this. I plan on buying one day one and pre-ordering because I just like one, new tech, and two, I just like everything to be the best it can be when I'm playing a game. And also, yeah, I do prefer PlayStation over PC pretty much like all the way. I do think like the points y'all brought up about the presentation being poor are true. I thought that even if they didn't exactly show new games, I think they chose some of the wrong games to show in the wrong format to show it. I think like the scene at hands-on is cool, but it would have been cooler if they gave hands-on to some more like tech-focused outlets to kind of like really break it down.
I thought Digital Foundry got a little bit of hands-on. Is that not true?
I haven't heard anything about that, but
yeah,
nothing
they gave their opinions, but it doesn't seem like in those opinion pieces that I read that they actually had any hands-on. They're going strictly based off what we all saw.
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
mean,
You're
yeah, I
right.
think
But
the
their
presentation.
YouTube channel is going to blow up when the Pro comes out because they're going to put out so
Oh,
many
yeah.
comparisons. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I definitely think the Pro is just like the tech that I want, but the presentation was right. That was poor. They spent 2 minutes on the PS5 and like didn't even like show comparison photos on like the PS blog, which I thought is something they probably should have done. But I also, at the same time, I think the PS Boost is something they also should have talked about in the thing, which they didn't. It was like a blog post, which is something I think is interesting. Like I know it's not going to make Bloodborne 60 FPS or even raise its FPS at all, but like it could reduce some of that fuzziness on its resolution, and that could be a game changer for some people. So like, and in the end, like Rebirth was shown off. That's all I need because I want to replay it. So like, I'm buying it.
So I remembered what I was going to say. Also,
Okay.
according to that presentation, Bench reminded me. Yeah, they spent like the first it's a 9-minute presentation. They spent the first 2 or 3 minutes just shitting on the PS5. It's like, look at the limitations this piss old console has. Like, let me show you what we're going to improve on next.
That's interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting. I almost felt like they were kind of hyping up the PS5 to where it's like, damn, I don't really want a Pro. You're like treating this pretty cool. It's like, yeah, we use this architecture and it's been great, but there are some issues. It's like, oh, okay.
And about
Weird as
the
hell.
Yeah, the thing that
and
I
about
remembered
the
I was going to talk about was a lot of us were expecting so many games, especially like Sony first party games, were going to get what we had in the past, like patches. Like we're going to get PS5 Pro patches to the game. And no, none of these games are getting like official patches from their developers to be better and running better on the Pro. It's all artificially boosted just
no,
by whatever the tech is in the PlayStation 5 Pro.
no, they are, they are.
They're actually
They're
getting like
getting
actual patches.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah,
A
certain
lot
games
of
are getting
the
patches, I
a
think.
lot of the PSSR stuff, while helping current gen stuff for sure, is being implemented into like last gen stuff, and that kind of is where that's becoming a thing. But yeah, they've
And
confirmed like Rebirth is getting a full
Hang on.
patch. I
This
think
is
there's a list.
There's a list here from okay, this isn't patches. Shinobi put down, he has some details. Some PS5 Pro enhanced games will include Alan Wake 2, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Demon's Souls, Dragon's Dogma 2, Rebirth, Gran Turismo 7, Hogwarts Legacy, Horizon Forbidden West, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Rift Apart, The Crew Motorfest, The First Descendant, Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, and more. But
Well,
like
no,
this is what I mean. It's like most of those are like PS4 games. And like,
Yeah.
yeah, sure, that's impressive that they'll look better, but it's like they ran
Yeah.
on a PS4.
CNET did say that it's like there's like 50 games they're aiming for at launch, and I think for it to get the Pro Enhanced label, devs actually have to go in and like update the game. It's not like PSSR is going to like get you that stamp. And
Yeah.
about the price, I do think there was definitely some sticker shock at 700. And I at the end of the day, I think it's fine. I think the real like thing is like sure I don't care about disk drives, but I think that not being included is kind of weird and
Oh
probably
yeah,
not the best move.
that's
And
the
To
other
me,
thing. It's like you're already paying
same with the
700
stand,
for
yeah.
this. You're already paying 700 for this, and then you got to throw in like another $80 plus tax, so like $100
and
to
a
just have your disk drive and the
The
vertical
fucking-
stand.
vertical stand, $30.
Yeah.
You can't
Like, I
just
think-
put that in. It's so-
Yeah, I think that's pretty silly and honestly like a bad move. But to be honest, it doesn't affect me directly because I would have bought none of those to begin with. But I think that was probably the poor move. And even if you still want people to buy them, maybe if they go through PS Direct and have a Pro in the cart, maybe they can get some money off. I think even if they wanted to still charge you, they could have met somewhere in the middle. It's just a bad decision for that.
I mean, here's the thing. I just look at all this, and I kind of just have to accept the fact that it's like PlayStation is really just wanting to become Apple. They want to be able to kind of swing their big dick around and say, well, you're going to buy it because it's a PlayStation product, the same way Apple is with, oh, you're going to buy it because it's an Apple product. I mean, recently they just silently, without even a blog post, put up the price of the DualSense controllers $5 extra, which, yeah, sure, isn't a lot, but it's still like, okay, $5 now and then $5 later, that's $10 throughout the whole generation. I'm paying even more money on top of that. Also, we got the other regions PS5 Pro. We're not even talking about that. $700 US, 800 euros, almost $1,000 Canadian, and it's like Jesus
I think
Christ!
it's
Like,
over 1,000 in Australia. I saw Nick say something. He guessed it, and then it came out because they didn't put up the Australia price on in the initial release. It came out a little bit
Why?
later, and Australia was like over 1,000, whatever the Australian currency is.
yeah, I don't know. Like, buy the thing, sure. I just can't. I'm looking at it more from the business sense of like where the market is. how big this thing is going to be. I think it will be sold out because I think they're going to ship this in a low quantity. We already saw the disk drive, if I'm correct, sold out already. So people are prepping themselves. They at least announced a pre-order date that wasn't like a day after the presentation, like they did with the PS5, which was stupid. I don't know why they did that back then. So now it's going to be September 26th, if I'm correct, for the pre-orders for PS5 Pro.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, listen. I mean, you do you, Sony. At the end of the day, I don't think they're ever gonna like. I saw some people go like, "Oh, maybe they're gonna have pro exclusive games." No, I don't think
No.
that. You're gonna be able to play games on your PS5 for the next decade, the same way you are with the PS4.
As people have said, like it's the same CPU, so all this. It's not like they're gonna make any games that are requiring a stronger CPU because it's the same CPU as the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, I mean that also means it's like CPU bound games, like a GTA 6. That's a game that utilizes the CPU a lot, most likely. That's probably gonna stick to 30 FPS even if you get a Pro, because they're not changing the CPU.
The only thing that's going to be like better on the pros maybe resolution and spots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some extra stuff from the Shinobi thing. Comes with a 2 TB SSD. I mean, listen, that's something at the very least. I think you can at least not have to delete as many games on your $700 machine. Okay, here's something that I truly do. So, advanced ray tracing, 2 to 3 times faster ray casting to provide better reflections and lighting. Can I be honest with you guys? I think ray tracing is kind of the dumbest buzzword this generation. I genuinely don't care.
Yeah, it does very little for me.
Because it's just like,
like
the reflections are better. It's like they looked fine. I don't
I'm
know.
not looking at my reflection in games.
I mean,
I'm looking at the enemy.
how
I
much
don't
do
know.
we think the PS6 costs?
It's not going to be 700. They're going to eat the cost. That's my.
I think it's 600.
Yeah, it's probably going to be 500 to
600,
600
yeah.
depending on inflation and other things like that. Because we got another 5 years before that, so the economy's going to change. But depending on inflation and costs and stuff, it's going to be somewhere between 500 and 600.
Yeah, and I
'cause-
do think people are kind of needlessly freaking out about that. For like an economy, we don't know where it's going to be in 5 years, and honestly, like that's completely different than a pro where they can kind of hike the price up a little higher. But for the next generation, they want to get as many people in.
Exactly. I mean, with the Pro, like they know that this is like a small market that's going to go for it, the enthusiast. I think when you're coming into the PS6, you want to try to get as many people as possible. You'd be very silly to try to effectively do pro level prices there.
Mhm.
There was some extra stuff. CNET did actually get the hands on. You guys, isn't that a little weird that CNET's the only ones that got the hands on? Like not like a digital foundry.
I didn't know who they were before this.
No, CNET's been around for a while. They're the tech guys basically. But it's just weird because it's like I don't know if you remember when Sony was like doing the first hands-on with the PS5, they invited Wired. It's like Sony really likes these like traditional media companies. They like to do them for their one-on-one type situations. But yeah, this guy from CNET went over. This is what Bench was mentioning earlier. Planned 40 to 50 games with PS5 Pro upgrades at launch, focusing on 4K 60 FPS upgrades with graphic boost. PSSR will work on PSVR 2 games in the future. Doesn't seem like they're going to get patched. I don't care. I just don't care about PSVR 2 anymore because Sony doesn't care about PSVR 2. And also, PS5 Pro could spark a range of extra gaming modes. Sony has seen games with 3 different PS5 Pro modes. But this is the fun thing to me. This is the one thing in the article that was like very... I'm so happy to see it. Gran Turismo 7 includes 8K mode and a 4K mode with ray tracing. Guys, 8K's back.
It's back.
They removed it from the box. It's back in business. I mean, listen, 8K, you want to talk about like a gimmicky word. That is the definition of a gimmick. Because, one, most people don't notice the difference between 4K and 8K. Like, you were talking about like pixels at that point. And also, you need an 8K TV. Those are very expensive right now. That is not consumer like ready, basically. So, yeah, that's very much a gimmick. And then that seems to be also PS5. This is from Ben, from Video Tech Chuck on Twitter. PS5 Pro will launch with the latest wireless technology, Wi-Fi 7 in territories supporting the standard, VRR and 8K gaming also supported. Real quick, what's Wi-Fi 7? I don't know if you guys know.
It's just better. I think it's just
a stronger
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi.
Stronger
It's like
Wi-Fi. It's just it's just future proofing. If I had to guess.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. But yeah, that's everything included around the PS5 Pro. If you guys had to like take a guesstimate, do you guys think it'll get sold out at launch? Because I know I think that.
Yeah, because like you said, they
Um,
know it's a niche product, so it's not going to be mass produced to the scale that the PlayStation 5 was. So,
I
in the
I
sense
think
of
in the
smaller quantities and scalpers, it's going to sell out.
Mhm.
I think in like the day pre-orders go up, yes, but I think by launch, if you want one, there's going to be a way to get one.
Yeah.
Not like including scalpers. I think in that like
Oh,
month
yeah,
and a
of course.
half time frame, you'll be able to find one.
100%. Okay, well, PS5 Pro, God bless. Can't wait. Moving into our next story, Annapurna Interactive, publisher label for indie games. A lot of weird news throughout the week. So first, this broke a little bit after our show last week. Annapurna Interactive is looking into expanding into larger budget and AAA games. Noble put that up on Twitter. And then pretty much an exact week later, Annapurna video game team resigns, leaving partners scrambling. Megan Ellison-led firm sees staffers quit after spinoff talks fail. This is Schreier over at Bloomberg. The entire staff of Annapurna Interactive, video game publishing division of Megan Ellison's Annapurna Studio, resigned this month following a dispute with its owner. Annapurna Interactive president Nathan Gary and his team had been negotiating with Ellison, the daughter of Larry Ellison, to spin off the video game division as an independent entity. When Ellison pulled out of negotiations, Gary and other executives resigned and were followed by around 24 other staffers. All 25 members of the Annapurna Interactive team collectively resigned. Gary and the group said in a joint statement, "This was one of the hardest decisions we have ever had to make, and we did not take this action lightly." And it goes on from there, but very much so. Annapurna, the whole staff resigned, so they're not closed down yet. I'll say this: I'll be completely real with you guys. I didn't know Annapurna made movies.
I
I didn't
didn't.
know they were like primarily a movie place.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I think I only knew that like in passing because I get at least in the movie section, I mix up Annapurna and Bloomhouse a lot.
yeah, I did that. I thought like Annapurna was being mixed up with A24.
That too. Yeah, the other publishing company of indie stuff.
Exactly. But I mean, to talk about it, is like, what do you guys think the future of Annapurna is? Like, it seems like there's a lot of weird mix-ups going on right now, and there's still games. Like, a lot of the indie developers that had their games being published by Annapurna are like, "Oh, our game is still being okay. Like, we'll be able to make it through." It's a very murky future. It looks like for Annapurna.
Yeah, well, anything that's like coming out in the next couple months is probably okay. It's those games that are like in deep in development right now, where they're like, "Oh, now we got to start the whole process over of finding a publisher," that are probably scrambling a bit. So yeah, we're gonna hear from the ones that are gonna be out in the next 6 months, less than 6 months, but everything else, we're probably either gonna start hearing of, yeah, we're gonna delay until we find another publisher, or if what people are saying, the people that were of Annapurna spin off into their own independent company and make their own. Then they just be like, hey, go back to all their developer friends, like, hey, here's our new one. You want to come back to us? And now I can see that happening.
Yeah, it just kind of comes down to like where the company wants to transition moving forward. I think Annapurna like will still stay around in the gaming world, but I just don't know what the future outlook of the company looks like. A lot of people were kind of worried about Remedy. Remedy is involved with Annapurna Pictures, the movie people. So this is completely separated from Remedy. I don't really understand like where they could really take the company moving forward from the games division side. I think maybe they try to go back on a hiring spree to try to get new people in, but then at that point you're just a shell of like what you were before. But even then,
wearing the mask of what Annapurna was on the game side.
Exactly, but they're a publishing label. Maybe they just get people in to help publish the remaining games they already have, and they don't get any new stuff in.
Well, as I said, they're going to be focusing on AAA stuff, so it's the new people that they're going to bring in to be like, hey, we're now going to focus on big AAA games. So they're going to bring those people in, and then start doing deals to publish these big AAA games. So it's going to be the weird comparison is what happened with the Harvest Moon Story of Seasons debacle. Where those people left and started their own thing because they didn't like the company that they were under. So it's gonna be the same thing. Where the Annapurna that we know now is probably gonna be a different company, and all of us Annapurna fans are gonna follow towards that. Where the people who are wearing the Annapurna mask are gonna be moving towards that AAA front.
Do you think they actually like stick with the AAA like front, or is it going to be like, we tried, we couldn't find anyone?
It's a 50-50 coin flip. It depends on if they can hire people and find new deals. because that's what they said. They want to focus on AAA games and not on these indie stuff. So if they can find people to bring on into Annapurna to make these deals with, to publish these AAA games, then they'll obviously keep going forward. But if they realize, oh, everyone's gone, we can't make any deals, we can't find anyone to hire, then then they're just going to close it down.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they can try to get back on their feet. I don't know if I like that AAA stance. How about you, man? Are you feeling like that's a mistake going forward to kind of go away from indies?
It makes me question what are they going after. I think it depends on what it goes after, because all the big AAA studios, developers, they already have their publishers through Microsoft, Sony, EA, all these other big well-established publishing companies. So I'm like, so we look at Annapurna and be like, okay, what are you guys looking to publish? I think that's really the big question. But of course, we outsiders won't know anything about that. But I mean, I'm okay with it, but I'm just curious as to what are these developers looking at Annapurna from a AAA publishing front? Because Annapurna has the mindset of they're this cool indie publisher. So why do you want to publish your AAA game as a big AAA developer? Why would you want to go through Annapurna when they have that reputation?
100%. We will see. Hopefully things work out for them. Do you have a favorite Annapurna game, Moon? Since maybe it'll be the last of them.
The only one I know they have a lot. The only two I could think of off the top of my head that I know are Annapurna games are Stray and What Remains of Edith Finch, which were both good games. I think I prefer Stray in general. Game of the year contender, Stray.
I think if I had to choose, I'd probably go with that Neon White, if you remember that one.
Oh yeah, I need to play that still.
I don't know how much you'd like it. It is a very intense game.
Yeah,
it's very fast.
I watch people play it in like competitions and stuff. I know it's a speed run game.
Yeah, I mean I mean, hey, the best part about it, you don't even really need to speed run. Like you could take it slow if you really want to, but
oh yeah,
God, it gets intense. It is so much fun. But yeah, hopefully Annapurna, things work out for them. We will be following. Moving into our next story, more sad news. Microsoft, some more layoffs, about 650 more employees. Tom Warren at The Verge had it. Microsoft is laying off around 650 employees in its gaming division today. Latest cuts some months after Microsoft laid off 1,900 Activision, Blizzard, and Xbox employees, and after the closure of game studios, or several game studios. Xbox chief Phil Spencer announced the layoffs to employees in an internal memo this morning, seen by The Verge. The cuts are related to the Activision Blizzard deal, and Spencer makes it clear in his email that, quote, no games, devices, or experiences are being canceled, and no studios are being closed as part of the layoffs today. As part of aligning our post-acquisition team, this is Phil Spencer, by the way. As part of aligning our post-acquisition team structure and managing our business, we have made the decision to eliminate approximately 650 roles, mostly corporate and supporting functions, to organize our business for long-term success, says Spencer. There's more off that, but that's pretty much the main gist of it. I don't know if you guys remember, were there layoffs regarding like corporate structuring jobs earlier this year too, or is this the first like corporate restructure job cuts?
I don't remember what the 1100 was from last time.
The 1100 was the gaming division, I think, with a. Well, no, now I'm trying to remember, because there was like a Microsoft like corporate, like Microsoft in general cuts across the entire like company.
Yeah, so this might be the first like gaming focused one.
Because they did do the Bethesda cuts around May. I remember that, and that's when Arcane shut down. I think it's just like I've become so desensitized. It just sucks. I wish that it didn't happen, but I don't really have anything new to say. I hope those people get on their feet. But layoffs just keep fucking happening in this industry. And this is the year of the layoffs, it feels like.
Yep.
Would you guys think this is kind of the last of the layoffs, at least for Microsoft for this year? Because it feels like I want to hope is that the fiscal year, like this is the last of the layoffs in regards to that.
Yeah, because like I said, the original was just Microsoft in general. Now this one is the one from the gaming department. I mean, maybe there might be more like on the tech side or something, but in terms of gaming from Xbox, yeah, this might be it, because they don't want to do it multiple times. They don't like the bad press, so they're just gonna get one and done and over with, at least for the year. So this probably is, at least on the gaming side.
Yeah, because the corporate side for Activision Blizzard, like redundancies and whatnot, as they say. Unfortunate. Uh, let's move into our next story, which is Ubisoft. Shares plunge again after investor urges company to go private. I thought this was an interesting one. Ubisoft's share price plunged again on Monday after a minority investor called on management to take the company private or let it be sold to a strategic investor. The publisher's share price fell almost 10% during trading today before closing down 7.13%. It has fallen by more than 50% over the last 12 months and now sits close to a 10-year low. The company's share price has already declined significantly earlier this month, reportedly driven by a combination of a poorer than expected launch for Star Wars Outlaws and a sharp decline in interest in free-to-play shooter X Defiant. This seems to be a very interesting story. So it kind of confirms in a way, or at least not like full confirmation, but it seems like Star Wars Outlaws didn't do what it needed to do for Ubisoft. They were expecting a very big launch because of the Star Wars IP, because of the massive name, and it seems like it's not taking off the way that it really needed to. So
Yeah.
now they're in this position where I think they might try to go private. What do you guys think is the like possibilities of that? Because it is a company owned by like it's a family business. I mean, Yves Guillemot is very much it's the Guillemot brothers, all that. I wonder where that direction is.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the direction is because Outlaws didn't obviously do what it needed to, and general like people think it's not great. But I think it's a decision they're not going to make until after Shadows, I think.
For sure, they want to see what Shadows can do if they can try to like bounce the stock back in some way through that launch.
After the Shadow, but not also like the holiday season, where I'm sure we always joke Ubisoft games go on sale so quickly, and of course Black Friday is a big opportunity for that. So they're probably going to see a big boost in their games in Star Wars and Assassin's Creed and all that during the holiday season, where everyone's like, okay, price is a little bit down now, I'll buy this Ubisoft game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, are you guys kind of worried for the future of Ubisoft? Ubisoft is a big company. I think the thing is they're big in a weird way where they have 20,000 employees. And it's like with the output that they have, I don't know how that happens. It kind of tells me
sure
they might
fine,
be.
but if they keep going downward, obviously divisions of theirs, like a certain studio might close up and they
100%.
I mean, they already have done this where they're like, yeah, we're not experimenting too much. We're just going to put out our Assassin's Creeds, our surefire hits like Star Wars IP related stuff. As you can tell, they're not doing as many different things. They're just doing what they know will make at least some money. Or at least they thought they did before Outlaws kind of underperformed.
I mean, they
100%.
were supposed to kind of have a big year with 3 games releasing, and I'm curious what next year is going to look like for them. Because, I mean, we know Sands of Time is not until 2026.
Oh, God.
So, what's exactly next year? Are they having anything at all besides like an Assassin's
I'm looking that up
Creed
right now.
expansion?
Like, what do we know from Ubisoft from right now?
There
Like,
was
I
that
guess
Tom Henderson had a leak of like all the big release dates and like what they're internally targeting. I think Splinter Cell remake was supposed to be that year, but that's not exactly going to be like an Assassin's Creed or Star Wars level like success. I don't.
both Assassin's Creed and Star Wars are going to have DLC next year for sure.
So Assassin's
Yeah.
Creed Jade is slotted. Oh no, that's an Android game. Never mind.
I mean, well, you say that, but like that could help the stock price a
I
bit.
could,
if
yeah.
it's a, yeah.
Oh yeah, Rainbow Six mobile is coming out. That'll help for all the Rainbow Six nuts out there.
Dude, I forgot it. They announced it. They announced it at like a presentation too.
Apparently,
they were
also the
expecting us to be hyped.
Division is also getting them. They have 2 mobile games. That's really all. They have 3 mobile games for next year. They have Assassin's Creed Jade, Tom Clancy's The Division Resurgence, and Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Mobile. That's all they have listed right now for 2025.
Do you guys think, like we're talking about how gamers are tired of Assassin's Creed and all these games? Do you think the common consumer is starting to get tired of it? Like the guy who gets off at work and just plays like 2 hours of like Assassin's Creed every night. That's kind of the routine. They buy the Assassin's Creed, they buy the Call of Duty. You think they're starting to get tired of Assassin's Creed? And it's like, I don't want one this year.
No, because if the games dip in quality, it doesn't seem like at least the games themselves are dipping in quality. But I would say not, because they're not inundated like we are with like another open world game along with Assassin's Creed. That's all they do is just Assassin's Creed. And if they don't want to focus on the open world, they just boot up Call of Duty for their multiplayer shooter fix. So I would say not. I mean, there's always going to be some who would be like, I want to do something different, play Horizon or something.
Yeah.
But No, in terms of like the general lines, like those types of people who are the most casual kind of games, no, I would say not, because there's just so many of them that are so casual, and it's it's only going to go down because there will be the people like us who are be like, I don't want to play another Assassin's Creed because I also have Star Wars Outlaws and what other open world game came out that year, because the open world genre is like one of those ones that it will drag you down if you do too many of them. It's not like other genres where you can blast between. I think it's one of the hardest genres to go from this game to this game to this game if they're all open world.
I
Yeah,
don't
it
think
took 'em-
they've. I don't think they've quite like not stopped buying Ubisoft games. I think they're buying them, but I think they're also at the same time noticing that some other teams have kind of cracked that code in a more satisfying way, like with Ghost and Horizon.
Yeah, it just looks to be very tumultuous times for Ubisoft. I hope they're able to get out of it. Mostly, I want them to get out of it by making like really good games. I don't want them to get out of it by making like mobile slop. Like I want them to get out of it by being a very high quality games publisher that like, oh, you see the name on the box, you get excited type deal. Which I can't say that's the case for me.
Which right now, if you look past beyond 2025, literally the only things on here is the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake for 2026. Everything TBA is more Assassin's Creed, more Tom Clancy stuff, and another Assassin's Creed mobile game, and Beyond Good and Evil 2 if that ever exists.
There is I just remembered Far Cry is most likely next year.
Yeah, which is weird that's not on this list.
Well, because they haven't announced it probably.
I guess, yeah. I guess these are technically announced stuff, which is interesting. So the Splinter Cell remake actually got announced?
Yeah, a few years back when they were basically doing like a job hiring, remember?
Yeah.
Where it was kind of like, oh, we're working on Splinter Cell remake. Here's a 2-second teaser. Okay, come work for us. It's like,
Be in 10 years.
Like, what do you want from me? But yeah, that's most likely next year as well. Moving into our next story, this is kind of more of an update, if anything, not much to add. Unity canceling the runtime fee. If you guys remember the whole debacle last year about like every time someone downloads a game, the developers have to pay Unity a certain amount of money, all that. And the Wario 64 had that, by the way. Now it seems like they're pretty much completely getting rid of it. They downscaled it earlier this year and said like, oh, it's only going to be after a certain amount of downloads, all that. Now they're like just completely getting rid of it. So yeah, good on them. Seems like it was just kind of a stupid decision to try to leech money off them.
I mean, I'm surprised it just didn't happen sooner, I guess, because it must have done a big hit to them.
Yeah, it seems like they pretty much realize it's like, oh yeah, people just aren't going to use Unity, especially with how much more prevalent other game engines have started to become. Like Unreal Engine has been pretty pro developer lately. I think there's a couple other like free engines of that kind. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, seems like an overall good decision though. Hopefully they can not stop being greedy. But hey, I'm asking a lot about these companies. And then final story. This is also an update, a really sad update. Chris Scullion at VGC. Sega's mobile game Yakuza Wars appears to have been revealed early. A Chinese Facebook page for the game has gone up before an official announcement. A Facebook page for a game called Yakuza Wars has been spotted. The page, which appears to be aimed at Chinese players, includes a brief description of the game. Sega's first officially licensed Like a Dragon mobile game is a brand new classic gangster-themed masterpiece for mobile phones, creating innovative strategic war gameplay. So yeah, we talked about the trademark last month and how we were all kind of interested to see what it could be, and we thought it would basically be this could still be the September. This has not been officially announced yet. So I'll just ask right off the top: is this the announcement they were talking about? Of like, we are very excited to talk about like the future of Yakuza in like September 20th, I think they said, for the RGG summit.
I'm
Maybe
sure
just one of the
part
games.
of it. I'm
Sorry,
sure it's part of, like they'll announce like some other whatever the next Yakuza title is, and then this will be like, and for you mobile players out there who want some action right now, next month here comes Yakuza Wars for your phone.
Yeah, I can't get excited.
Yeah.
It's
I
hard.
think-
I want to be
Yeah.
excited because I love Yakuza and I would love a strategy game from them, but nah, I just can't do
Yeah, I
it.
was hoping this was going to be some like like tower defense game or something like that.
Yeah, really. I mean, it could still be that, but you're on your phone, baby. Bet
Yeah.
you were gonna say something.
I think it's just one of the things they probably have planned. I don't think they're stupid enough to just announce this at their presentation.
I don't think you. I think you have too much faith in what was it, Sega? Sega. This is the type of shit Sega does. They love wasting our time. I want to believe that they have something else there.
Yeah,
but also
they don't make a whole. They don't do a whole presentation just for a mobile game. That is a like we'll just drop this on Twitter in the middle of the night kind of
100%.
announcement.
Yeah,
so
maybe
it'll be there. It might be like the closer, might be the opener, and it's going to be disappointing which way the way they do that. But at least it's not the whole presentation. If it is, I quit.
I quit. I'm just quitting gaming. I'm gonna become a movie guy at that point. I don't know. I will say though, I think people might be overreacting. They're like, oh, it's the end of the series. It's like, guys, they're still gonna make Yakuza games. Like, we just got one this year. Like, I'm fine with waiting a year. It's fine.
This is just them just trying to cash in on the mobile craze.
100%, especially in Japan. It is huge in Japan still. But yeah, I think that's everything for the news. There was one tiny thing I didn't even add. Tony Hawk was basically teasing that a new Pro Skater game is in development, saying like, "Oh, I was talking to Activision about it." That's real, right? They're making a new Tony Hawk thing. Maybe not like a brand new game, but at least like a Pro Skater 3 remake.
Though if he's involved, I don't think it'd be a remake because they didn't need him for the remakes of the 1 and 2. So I would assume this is more on the lines of a newer game.
Oh yeah, I mean, like there is maybe to compete with Skate. Who would do it? Because like Vicarious Visions shut down, or not shut down, but they were basically rebranded and they
whatever. I mean, it would have to be whoever owns the rights to Tony Hawk's blah 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 game,
which is Xbox.
Yeah, so it's gonna be under one of their. It's gonna be one of their teams.
Yeah, they could probably get like even in that regard, like a second party studio to just come in and check it out. But yeah, hopefully that works out. I know a lot of people love that franchise. And now let's talk about what we've been playing because there were no reviews this week. I don't think.
At least
except
Funko Fusion.
There was Funko Fusion. I'm sorry, 57 on Open Critic. God forbid. No, I was so excited. But let's talk about what we've been playing. Moon, talk to me about Astrobot. I'm surprised you were the first of us to platinum it, which honestly really surprised me.
Yeah, I didn't plan on it, but it just kind of happened where I literally the other content I make for the channel got pushed off a day because I just spent all of Sunday playing mostly. And my homework was also a day late for my college. So literally I pushed everything out just to be like, I'm just gonna play Astrobot. I don't know why, but that's just how it kind of worked out. We had a good old time. It just worked out in the sense where the least when it comes to the platinum, it wasn't very challenging. Like the hardest thing is the Grandmaster challenge at the end. Everything else is just a lot of do this very specific thing, which thankfully the Astrobot way the game is designed, you can easily jump right back into a level. Yeah, it's annoying that you have to redo the whole level from the beginning, especially if you missed a bot or a puzzle piece at the very end of the level. But if you beeline it, it takes maybe 2-3 minutes.
Oh yeah, no, levels are very short in this game.
Yeah, so it's annoying, but it's not terrible. And so because of that, and the way I was playing it, I didn't leave a galaxy until every world was 100%ed. So it was just this nice trek until the end. And when I did have to go back, it didn't take very long. The only thing that took me any amount of time was, like I said, the Grandmaster challenge and a couple of those cross, square, circle galaxies. Some of those were really annoying because they were on the harder side.
Yeah, no, the symbol galaxy, that's pretty much what I want more of. I love that shit, but yeah, you're right, they were tough.
The worst one for me was the lava one in the circle, I think it was.
Oh yeah, everyone was talking about that one. I was stuck on it too. That shit's ridiculous.
So besides those and then the Grandmaster challenge, yeah, it was just an easy time, and once I got to the very end, I did the final boss fight, which was super fun. And then it was just kind of going back to the crash site and just picking up just the trophies of you having to do certain interactions with certain bots, and I was done. So it was just a very easy thing to do, and because of that, I just got into this like checklist mode of like, okay, I'll just spend the next hour or so knocking all this out, and then all of a sudden I found myself up at 1 a.m, cleaning up the last 2-3 trophies I needed, and I got the platinum.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a fun ass platinum though, so I don't blame you. It's just like fuck it, I might as well go for it because I'm this close.
I think Fusion said he played for 5 hours and he said felt like more like a half hour, and that's exactly what happened.
It's same. Oh my god. I mean, talk about the game itself. Like this hit for you, like really hard. It seems like.
Yeah, I mean, it's now the highest rated on OpenCritic, which I'm totally supportive. And if it wins Game of the Year and it's the funny, here's all these other big epic games like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Yakuza Infinite Wealth, and what other big games came out this year?
Dragon Age.
Dragon Age.
Astrobot.
And it's like, the winner's this cute little Astrobot. Like, I'd be perfectly fine with that.
It's very much like, in my eyes, the best possible choice for Game of the Year, because I know for a fact people are going to get mad about it. It's like, but this win. It's like, because it's that good, man. Would you say it's your Game of the Year right now? Or is it still Infinite Wealth?
In terms of just like pure joy fun, yes, but I am still putting Infinite Wealth over it just because I am someone who is more inclined to the big epic stories and character moments that a game like Infinite Wealth offered.
Fair enough.
So, but in terms of like, if we were just basing this purely like on just a pure fun standpoint, yeah, I'd probably give it my Game of the Year.
That's exciting. Bench, you also finished it.
I did finish it. I did not get the platinum, but I got all the bots and the puzzles and the challenge levels. So
It's such an easy platinum. At that point, you just have to take a
you're
picture of like Nathan Drake.
I know.
Yeah, you're like 95% of the way there.
But I mean, I also adored this game. And I mean, y'all know me. I'm definitely more of the story guy, and even the 3D platformers I love, I still like put them behind a lot of the stuff in the year. So I think like the biggest praise I can give this game is it's probably going to be in my top 5 at the end of the year. Probably on like the lower end of top 5, but like it making into the top 5 is a big accomplishment for me, because this is just like, while I love Mario and stuff, it's just not my genre like it is specifically Wolf's and Yours Moon. So I think
it's not Moon's genre either.
No.
I'm the
like,
only
I will
person
play
who likes
Astrobot 100 times over before I play a Mario.
Yeah. So I just think, I mean, I adored this game. It was full of charm, and every level was just so fun, and finding the secret bots and the references. I definitely do have just a couple qualms. I kind of wished that they showed the names of the characters, at least like when you go back and can look in the like gallery, if they want to like keep the pun until you do that. I wish, because I looked up every character that I found, and I didn't know a lot of them, and that's cool. I just was kind of annoyed to go out of the way to find the name of them.
I actually really like that they don't tell you the name. I like the like kind of scavenger hunt aspect of like, oh man, who do I recognize, who do I don't? But I only missed 14 of them. There were only 14 I didn't recognize, and I actually did the final count. And it was cool learning about like, man, they went really fucking obscure, like Mr. Mosquito.
Deep cuts, yeah. I definitely really enjoyed this game.
There were some like weird PS1 cuts in there that I've never heard of. Like, I had to look up, what was it called, like Impossible Challenge or something like that.
Yeah, that was the businessman.
Yeah,
I thought it was from Kung Fu Rider.
And then there was like one character, I thought it was the guy from Heavy Rain. Turned out there's no Heavy Rain representation in this.
Oh no, there is. There's origami.
Oh, the origami, yeah.
Yeah, that's supposed to be the Heavy Rain. There's Beyond Two Souls, which I thought was hilarious. I was like, oh man, I haven't thought about that game in years.
Which is even terrible, because when I saw that, I thought it was another Last of Us bot. And then I realized, oh wait, there's that still like Ellen Page Ellie connection again.
Oh yeah, because it's like they look the exact same.
It's like I felt so bad. I'm like, oh no, I called Ellen Page the character again.
Yeah, I definitely think this is like a must-buy PS5 game. And I mean, although Rebirth is my game of the year, I wouldn't be mad. I'd be pretty happy if this won TGA's, because I think it's just so, it's like I've never seen a game just get to that Mario echelon before, and I think it's something that I hope to see more often.
Yeah, it seems like, you had 40 years to do it, so I'm glad someone finally got to that level. Yeah. I don't know. I think this is pretty much like the definitive game for someone like me. It's fun, it's short, very fun to 100%, which I love games to 100%. That's my favorite thing to do in games. So just the ability to kind of spend all the time in the world just knocking away at these challenges, doing platforming things. And also they're very polite about like the way they handle 100%. Because if you miss a bot or a puzzle piece, you go back and it's like, hey, you spent 200 coins. You could just like have a bird tell you where it is, like where the last spots are. And I love stuff like that where it's like, okay, I don't have to look it up. I can just find it on my own. And the themed levels at the end of each world, just fucking incredible. The way that they went really deep cut with one of them. No spoilers, but like genuinely surprised me, one of the choices, and I really absolutely loved it. This is an easy game of the year for me, and I can't really imagine anything else getting even close to that. Like, there's not much at the end of the year that I really care about to the extent of Astro. Maybe Mario Party, who knows? But yeah, this is an easy game of the year. I'm very hopeful that TGAs will give it the top of the line.
I mean, I think like all of us kind of knew going in that this would hit the hardest for you because it's just a wolf-ass game.
You guys keep talking about me. It's weird. I don't like
you. You're the 3D platformer guy.
No, I'm just saying. You keep saying wolf-ass game. It's like, bro, if I play Wukong and I hate it, I'm blaming you.
Blame Fusion. He started
it. Fusion. Oh God, I don't like that guy. But yeah, that's I think that's everything. There's also Visions of Mana.
I'm gonna just briefly touch on it because I was definitely more negative in my last, like more like kind of bland. But no, it definitely picked up, and I'm in the second chapter now. And still not far in, but enjoying it. And this is also a very pretty game, so good so far.
Okay. And I started the Persona 3 DLC. Didn't get very far, but it's more Persona DLC. It's just more Persona. The story hasn't kicked in or anything, so it's just getting back. It's annoying though because you restart at basically level 1 with all your party members and everything. It's like, I know I want my cracked team from earlier.
Yeah, what's I was seeing some controversy around Persona 4 or not Persona 3's DLC. What's going on there?
I don't know what everyone. The only thing I heard of is I think some people are upset that you had to pay for it and it's not like a free update.
Yeah, I mean that was weird, but like we knew about that for months.
Yeah, but hey, I got through Game Pass, so I'm chill. I didn't have to pay for it. But I am seeing that at least people are clocking in at like 6 hours, and I know the original version of this epilogues, DLC, whatever you want to call it, was like a lot longer because it was very grindy. So it's nice to see that if people are beating it like in 6.5 hours, they definitely streamlined a lot of it.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what everyone kind of like thinks of it moving forward because I know a lot of people don't really like For Answer, the answer from Persona 3 base, so or FES, whatever it was called. I don't know how I'm gonna jump in. I don't think I am. I hope it's good. Just let me know if it's like
I have nothing else. The only reason I'm playing it is because I have nothing else until October rolls around. So I'm just like, okay, might as well knock this out.
Mm-hmm.
Have a contender for this DLC section of the Soggies, which I know it's a losing cause because it's going to go to Erdtree, but at least we should have other contenders up there.
You can have other contenders. That's fine. I mean, listen, most of the people fucking hate Elden Ring here, so go ahead.
Whoa, great game.
No, that's you too, Bench. I'm the only one. Me and Cyber and Beef and Jat. Or no, not Jat. What? Navi. I would say Navi.
Oh, it's a great game.
Nah. Yeah, I know you and Fusion especially hate it. Fusion thinks it's the worst game ever made. I don't know what the hell's up with that.
He likes Horizon more than it.
Anyways.
Are there any other like big DLC expansions for this year? Bob's gonna come in with like a Forza DLC.
Yeah, he's 100% choosing Forza. I don't know. I don't think there's anything on the scale of an Erdtree. I think I can't really think of much else. It is funny. I was like so firmly like last year, like DLC should not be considered for Game of the Year. I don't know what the Game Awards are doing because like Phantom Liberty was up. But now that it's a game I care about, I'm like, hang on, guys. Hang on, maybe we could think about it. But yeah, that's it for the show. Very tight, fun show today. It was nice to have you back, man.
And see, when you trim the fat and bring in the good stuff, it goes really well here.
With the good stuff being you.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. That's what I appreciate. Wait, who's the fat then? Is it Dark?
Everyone else.
Respect. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. If you want to find more of us, we're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever pods are caught. Check us out on Twitter at Slice of Gaming. Moon, you have series on 100 Girlfriends, you always do chapter reviews. So if you're interested in stuff like that, every week, correct? Like every Monday or Sunday?
Sunday, yeah.
Sunday.
Usually
Okay,
Sunday.
that's it. All right. Well, I think that's
Unless
it.
another Astrobot comes out.
Yeah, really. Just assume if another Astrobot comes out, then you're probably going to get the episode delayed a day. But anyways, if you guys enjoyed this episode, please give us a like. Any type of support helps out. Say goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
See ya.
Gaming.